The narrative unfolds through the lens of Jiang Mei, a young woman poised at a pivotal juncture in her life. Her identity is a tapestry woven from two distinct threads, that of a dedicated and promising scholar embarking on her first day at the esteemed Bencheng Business Academy, and that of an established model whose likeness adorns the cover of the widely read Young Lady magazine. Filled with the nervous anticipation that accompanies any significant new beginning, she steps onto the campus grounds, only to be immediately caught in a current of students all surging toward a singular point of commotion. Her own curiosity propels her forward to the source, a spectacle where a girl named Fan Bing, displaying a bravery many would deem foolish, is publicly confessing her romantic feelings to the institution's most infamous and unattainable figure, Long Rai. As the sole inheritor of an unimaginable fortune, Long Rai exists as a living legend within the Academy's halls, renowned equally for his staggering wealth, his demeanor of unassailable arrogance, and his peculiar trifecta of phobias: heights, bodies of water, and his own grandfather. The collective, derisive laughter of the surrounding crowd serves as a stark commentary on the sheer futility of Fan Bing's gesture. It is common knowledge that Long Rai would never deign to acknowledge someone perceived as so profoundly ordinary. The tension of the scene ratchets higher with the sudden arrival of Hanjai, a young woman who considers herself Long Rai's rightful and exclusive companion. She confronts the gathering with palpable venom, demanding to know who possesses the audacity to approach what she regards as her Long Rai. It is at this precise moment that the young magnate himself makes an entrance befitting his character, dramatic and commanding. He dismisses Hanjai with a glance that conveys absolute indifference, his attention instead snagged by another tableau, a boy mercilessly bullying a weaker peer. In an action that hints at a complex and contradictory layer beneath his spoiled exterior, Long Rai shoves the aggressor aside, delivering an ice-cold rebuke about the cowardice of targeting those unable to defend themselves. Without another word, he strides away, leaving in his wake a heavy, stunned silence. Jiang Mei's own inaugural encounter with the school's rigid social hierarchy occurs in a more private setting but proves equally jarring. In the principal's office, basking in the warmth of congratulations for her exemplary academic record, she is handed her official class registration form. This moment of achievement is abruptly shattered when Long Rai storms into the room, consumed by fury over his own class placement. In a blind fit of pique, he slams his hand down squarely on Jiang Mei's form. When she reaches to retrieve it, he deliberately, petulantly rips the document in two, a crude display of his unchecked power and privilege. An outraged Jiang Mei scolds him for his profound disrespect toward both the principal and the institution itself. Her righteous indignation evaporates instantly, replaced by cold shock, as Long Rai's smirking friend delivers the humiliating revelation. Bencheng Academy was founded and is wholly owned by Long Rai's family. Her moral high ground crumbles, replaced by a dawning, unsettling understanding of the absolute power dynamics that govern this new world she has entered. The pressures constricting Jiang Mei's life are not confined to the Academy's gates. At home, her parents present her with a surprising and profoundly burdensome image contract. They have signed a lucrative deal that promises significant financial reward, but is attached to a list of strict, dehumanizing rules meticulously designed to craft a flawless public persona. No eating or drinking in public view, absolutely no conflicts or controversies of any kind, and a constant unwavering mandate to maintain a pristine, demure, and perfect image. The penalty for breaching any clause is a crippling financial debt her family could never hope to repay. Feeling ensnared by their financial needs and the weight of familial obligation, Jiang Mei reluctantly agrees, watching her personal freedoms and autonomy being methodically curtailed before her life has even properly begun. In this isolating new reality, her sole source of solace and genuine connection is an anonymous online friendship with a kind, perceptive boy she has never met in person. That very night, she pours out her frustrations to him, venting about her terrible first day and the rude, mannerless boy who destroyed her registration form. Her digital confidant offers comforting words and then presents a thrilling proposition. He's traveling to China and wishes to meet her at a bookstore. This promise becomes a beacon of normalcy and hope, a tangible link to a world outside her growing servitude. The following day, seeking a quiet moment of respite in the school garden to study and secretly eat a sandwich, an act she must hide due to her contract's restrictions, Jiang Mei's solitude is violently invaded by the roaring engine of Long Rai's luxury car. Remembering her contract's strict no-conflicts clause, she approaches him with forced, diplomatic calm, requesting that he lower the noise. He pretends not to hear her, forcing her to raise her voice and repeat the request, which he then immediately twists to accuse her of creating a disturbance. His friends casually inform her that the garden is his personal donation to the school, effectively rendering it his private domain. Unintimidated, Jiang Mei retorts that his car is a source of both auditory and visual pollution before turning to walk away. Long Rai, fixating on the insult directed at his prized possession, is a mixture of offended and intrigued. He orders his friends to compile a comprehensive dossier on her, declaring with a sly, dangerous smile that he will make her profoundly regret ever setting foot in his academy. His campaign of targeted harassment commences with theatrical flair. He personally delivers a formal challenge letter to her, a gesture laden with intimidation. The situation escalates when his loyal followers Mo Yu and Yu Yu brazenly snatch her laptop in broad daylight. She tracks them to Long Rai's opulently lavish office, a space that physically underscores the sheer scale of his power. There he presents her with two cruel and impossible ultimatums: endure relentless systematic suffering for the remainder of her academic career or voluntarily withdraw from Bencheng Academy. When she refuses both, he produces a third, even more demeaning option: a master and servant contract. According to its explicitly degrading terms, Long Rai is the absolute master and Jiang Mei is the bound servant, obligated to obey his every command and appear immediately upon his summons. Remembering her father's immense sacrifices to get her here and her own solemn promises to succeed, Jiang Mei, swallowing a gorge of pride and fury, signs the humiliating document. Long Rai wastes not a single moment in exercising his newfound authority. He summons her via text message with a peremptory order to deliver a roll of toilet paper to the men's bathroom on the third floor, attaching a threatening countdown timer. Forced into compliance, she enters the designated bathroom only to discover Yu Yu lying in wait, recording the entire humiliating episode on his phone. Long Rai callously states that tormenting her has become his new favorite form of entertainment, and his friends gleefully suggest packaging her ordeals into a viral reality show. Amidst this swamp of misery, a message from her online friend Jinshi arrives like a lifeline, confirming their planned weekend meeting, a beacon of hope connecting her to a world outside her oppressive servitude. A small, sweet victory arrives when the first exam results are posted. Jiang Mei has topped the entire class. Seemingly stung by this display of academic superiority, Long Rai then issues a new command. She is to write a novel for him which he will submit as his own coursework. She agrees, seeing within the task a rare opportunity for subtle, poetic revenge. In class, when the teacher singles out Long Rai's submission for unexpected praise, citing its surprising creativity and proceeds to read excerpts aloud, the room promptly erupts in uncontrollable laughter. Jiang Mei had written a deliberately absurd, slapstick comedic story. Publicly humiliated and seething, Long Rai storms out of the classroom, shooting her a look of pure venom which she meets and returns with a triumphant, teasing glare of her own. The master-servant dynamic continues its oppressive rhythm as he next orders her to fetch sushi from an exclusive, distant store within an impossibly strict time limit. In her frantic rush back to campus, she trips, scraping her knee painfully, but soldiers on to deliver the order, however. When she sees Long Rai and his friends poised to eat the food she had procured through such effort, a spark of defiance ignites. She snatches the container back, declaring flatly that she is now hungry herself. To her astonishment, he offers no protest. Instead, his gaze falls on her injury. With an unexpected, almost grudging care that contradicts his entire persona, he has a first aid kit brought forth and, to the shock of everyone present, personally cleans and bandages her wound, dismissively claiming he was only concerned she might have broken her foot and thus become useless to him. This ambiguous act of unexpected kindness does not escape notice. Her rival Han Jai becomes incandescent with rage upon spotting Long Rai's distinctive exclusive bandage on Jiang Mei's knee. She corners Jiang Mei in a secluded hallway, viciously accusing her of scheming to steal Long Rai away and raising her hand to deliver a slap. The confrontation is violently interrupted by the ringing of Jiang Mei's phone, a call from Long Rai. Enraged, Han Jai snatches the device and hurls it away. Up in his office, growing annoyed by her lack of response, Long Rai glances out the window and witnesses the scene of bullying unfolding below. He immediately rushes down, intercepts Han Jai's descending slap midair and shoves her away with contempt. In a moment that sends confusing, destabilizing ripples through Jiang Mei's entire understanding of him, he declares with icy finality, "I can only bully my people and no one else can touch them." He then drapes his own jacket over Jiang Mei's shoulders and departs with a characteristically arrogant comment about it merely being his duty as her master. This confusing undercurrent of protectiveness lingers in her mind as she later prepares for her long-awaited real-world meeting with Jinshi. Her brother teases her mercilessly about being in love, and she bribes him with sweets to secure his silence. As she steps out of her home, she finds Long Rai waiting for her. He declares himself her important work for the day, physically forces her into his car, and drives her to a luxury mall. When she resists his attempt to make her change out of her simple, comfortable clothes, he physically guides her to a plush chair and begins arbitrarily selecting expensive dresses for her to try. Trapped within the fitting room, Jiang Mei seizes a desperate opportunity, secretly messaging Jin Shi to change their meeting location to the mall's cafe. What follows is a chaotic, farcical sequence of subterfuge. Jiang Mei models dress after elaborate dress for a visibly bored Long Rai, who soon becomes distracted by his phone. Seizing her moment, she sneaks out of the boutique still wearing one of the exorbitantly priced gowns to meet Jin Shi. Their much-anticipated meeting, however, is awkward and stilted, utterly lacking the easy, flowing rapport of their online conversations. Jin Shi's eyes catch on the conspicuously dangling price tag still attached to her dress. Flustered and embarrassed, Jiang Mei invents a hasty excuse, flees back to the boutique to change, then sneaks out again to briefly meet Jin Shi, who presses upon her a book she had once admired, and finally returns to Long Rai's scrutinizing gaze, all while desperately fielding his incessant, suspicious phone calls. The elaborate ruse collapses spectacularly when Jin Shi himself arrives at the boutique entrance, holding Jiang Mei's forgotten purse. The two boys lock eyes, and their immediate hostile, familiar banter reveals a shared, contentious past. Jin Shi accuses Long Rai of being needlessly cruel. Long Rai mocks Jin Shi for abandoning his studies abroad. Jiang Mei stands stunned, the revelation dawning that her kind, understanding online friend and her tyrannical daily tormentor are not only acquainted but deeply connected by history. A petty, childish argument erupts between them before Jin Shi finally departs, leaving a cloud of tension in his wake. Back in his office, Long Rai unveils his next strategic move in their ongoing war. He has formally arranged for Jiang Mei to become his official, paid home tutor. His friends cackle at the absurdity of the power dynamic. She is now simultaneously his bound servant and his appointed teacher. When she attempts to refuse, Long Rai declares his orders to be absolute and tacks on a vicious new clause. She is henceforth forbidden from meeting Jin Shi alone under any circumstances. Jiang Mei's family reacts to this development with internal conflict. Her father offers gentle, unconditional support if she wishes to decline the position, but her mother, seeing a glittering financial and social opportunity, pressures her relentlessly to accept, viewing it as a direct conduit to the influential Long family. To prevent a devastating familial argument, Jiang Mei once again acquiesces, burying her own objections. At the imposing, palatial Long family mansion, the stern butler Uncle Li meets her with a warning about the family's pronounced preference for silence and order. Long Rai's mother, however, breaks this icy expectation by greeting Jiang Mei with surprising warmth and hospitality. In Long Rai's personal room, a space surprisingly filled with books, Jiang Mei's eyes are drawn to a rare volume on a high shelf. As she reaches for it, Long Rai snatches it away, initiating another tense psychological game. He offers her the book, then pretends he cannot hear her acceptance, forcing her to repeat herself loudly. Frustrated, she tries to pivot and begin the actual lesson. In a dramatic, threatening gesture, he moves to hurl the precious book out the window, which finally prompts a raw, emotional outburst from Jiang Mei about how he treats everything and everyone as utterly worthless. He reveals then that he never actually threw it, his expression flickering with what looks like genuine hurt, and insists that she apologize, stating quietly that many things in his life are, in fact, important to him. Moved by this rare vulnerability, Jiang Mei offers a sincere apology. The moment turns strangely, charged with an unexpected intimacy as Long Rai reaches out to touch her cheek, but he swiftly ruins the atmosphere by following the touch with a cutting insult and a declaration that he doesn't need a tutor after all before walking out and leaving her alone. That evening, a dinner invitation from Jin Shi acts as a balm, restoring a measure of her happiness. He cooks a meal for her, confessing it is his first attempt, and shows her a childhood photo album. Within its pages, Jiang Mei makes a startling discovery, a photograph of a young, solemn Long Rai standing next to a girl, accompanied by a handwritten note that reads, "Zia, I like you, be my girlfriend." Jin Shi explains that a young Long Rai wrote this note to him, having been under the mistaken impression that Jin Shi or Zia was a girl's name. He presses the photograph into Jiang Mei's hand, understanding intuitively that she might one day use it as a strategic piece of leverage. Emboldened by this newfound ammunition, Jiang Mei returns to the Long family estate late that same night. She walks unannounced into Long Rai's private quarters, catching him just as he steps out of the shower wearing nothing but a towel. A flustered, chaotic scene ensues where Jiang Mei, in her shock, stumbles backward and accidentally pulls his towel completely off. The aftermath is a masterpiece of profound, suffocating awkwardness. Sitting together in the aftermath, Long Rai adopts a tone of grave solemnity and declares that since she has now seen him naked, she must take responsibility by formally becoming his woman. Outraged and humiliated, Jiang Mei storms out without a backward glance. Undeterred, Long Rai escalates his campaign of possession. The very next morning, he arrives at her modest home with his full entourage in tow, loudly proclaiming his presence for the entire neighborhood to hear. His friends barge inside, addressing her loudly as sister-in-law, to her mother's utter confusion and dawning horror. Forced to leave with them to quell the scene, Jiang Mei finds herself back in his car, where he flatly, unquestioningly informs her that she is now his official girlfriend, a dream he states she has absolutely no option to refuse. At school, he and his friends enact a very public, very persistent shadowing, dogging her every step, loudly calling her sister-in-law, and effectively isolating her from any other social interaction. This very public claim sends Hanjai into a paroxysm of jealous fury. Long Rai then orchestrates a deliberately tense lunch with Jin Shi in attendance, formally introducing Jiang Mei to him as his girlfriend, a title she immediately and vehemently denies. A heated argument about long-held childhood competitions and rivalries flares between the two boys, and Jiang Mei, disgusted by being used as a pawn, leaves them to it. Hanjai's jealousy, however, has reached a boiling point. She and her clique corner the vulnerable Fan Bing, and when Jiang Mei attempts to intervene, capture her as well. In a public courtyard, Hanjai proceeds to shame Jiang Mei viciously, cruelly revealing her family's financial struggles to a gleeful audience. Just as Hanjai is about to strike her, Long Rai arrives, having been covertly alerted by a desperate text message from Fan Bing. He violently shoves Hanjai aside, physically placing himself between her and Jiang Mei, and reaffirms his ironclad edict that no one touches his people. As he wordlessly lifts Jiang Mei into his arms and carries her away from the scene, she is struck by a quiet, revelatory thought. He inexplicably, unfailingly appears at the precise moment she needs him most. That night, perhaps unconsciously influenced by this confusing pattern of rescue amidst torment, Jiang Mei finds herself baking a batch of cookies. She takes them to his home. There, Long Rai has been anxiously waiting for her arrival, a fact he vehemently denies to the observant Uncle Li. When she finally appears, he pretends to be asleep, then scolds her for her tardiness before begrudgingly accepting the offering. He tries to play it cool, offering a half-hearted criticism of their taste before quickly, possessively, claiming them all as his own. As they settle into their mandated lesson, Long Rai's uncharacteristically obedient, focused behavior leaves Jiang Mei deeply suspicious, her mind racing to decipher what new, intricate game the unpredictable heir is now playing. Unbeknownst to her, the protracted battle of wills is undergoing a slow, imperceptible metamorphosis, evolving into a far more complicated, nuanced, and emotionally charged connection that neither of them yet fully comprehends. The narrative advances to a pivotal chapter in the complex relationship between Jiang Mei and Long Rai, marked by unexpected vulnerability, escalating jealousy, and a dramatic crisis that strips away all pretenses. Following Jiang Mei's furious departure after the humiliating mall incident with Jin Shi, Long Rai finds himself in a state of rare, quiet introspection within his palatial study. The silence is so profound it draws the attention of the household staff. His mother, preparing to deliver snacks, is stopped by a maid who whispers in astonishment that the young master's room has been uncharacteristically peaceful. The usual sounds of rebellious shouting and thrown objects are absent. A hopeful smile touches his mother's lips as she concludes that Jiang Mei, the new tutor, must possess a unique ability to temper her son's famously volcanic temperament. This external observation hints at a subtle but significant shift occurring behind closed doors. Inside the study, the atmosphere is one of tense discovery. Jiang Mei, having returned for her mandated tutoring session, is meticulously reviewing the academic assignments she had given Long Rai. To her profound astonishment, every single problem is solved and solved flawlessly. She looks up from the papers, her expression a mixture of shock and suspicion. "You did everything correctly today," she states, her voice laced with disbelief. Long Rai, reclining with his typical air of nonchalant superiority, merely shrugs. "After all, who am I?" he retorts, as if his intelligence should never have been in question. This prompts Jiang Mei to voice the central paradox that has defined him at school. If he is so brilliant, why are his official grades so catastrophically poor? A cryptic, almost wounded look flashes in Long Rai's eyes before he masks it with arrogance. He explains with a dismissive wave that he prefers to keep his true capabilities and his secrets hidden from the world. Unconvinced and seeking to puncture his ego, Jiang Mei hands him a complex English passage to read aloud. He complies with obvious reluctance, his delivery monotone and disinterested. When she criticizes his performance and demands he read with more passion and speed, the fragile truce shatters instantly. They descend into a familiar, heated argument. Long Rai petulantly declares the young master is done studying for the day, and Jiang Mei, her frustration boiling over, gathers her belongings and storms out, leaving him alone with his thoughts and the lingering scent of her presence. In the quiet aftermath of her exit, Long Rai's defiant posture collapses. His gaze drifts across the room and settles on the modest tin of homemade cookies Jiang Mei had left for him days earlier. He picks it up, turning it over in his hands with an expression of unguarded contemplation. The simple, heartfelt gift stands in stark contrast to the extravagant, impersonal objects that fill his life. When his steadfast butler, Uncle Lee, enters to tidy up, Long Rai poses an unusual and strangely poignant question. How can we preserve cookies so they never spoil? Uncle Lee, a man accustomed to his master's eccentricities, is momentarily taken aback before suggesting a professional resin preservation process. Intrigued, Long Rai requests the address of such a factory, a request that speaks volumes about the value he secretly places on this token. Later, returning from a bath, he witnesses a scene that triggers a visceral, possessive panic. His loyal friends Mo Yu and Yu Yu are lounging outside, happily snacking on cookies. Leaping to the mistaken conclusion that they are consuming Jiang Mei's gift, Long Rai transforms from a bored aristocrat into a feral protector. He lunges at Mo Yu, grabbing him by the collar and demanding he spit out my cookies. The moment is both comical and revealing, showcasing a depth of feeling he would never verbally admit. The crisis is averted only when Uncle Lee arrives, presenting Long Rai with the real cookies, now forever encased in a clear resin block. The relief that floods Long Rai's face as he cradles the preserved gift is palpable, a silent testament to emotions he cannot yet name. Meanwhile, Jiang Mei is engaged in her own covert operation. She tracks down Mo Yu and Yu Yu in Long Rai's expansive garage, not for social purposes but for strategic intelligence. She probes them with careful questions about their history with Long Rai and the origin of their unwavering loyalty. Mo Yu recounts a foundational memory from their childhood, a time when he was being brutally bullied, and Long Rai, then just another lonely rich boy, was the sole person who intervened. This story paints a picture of a nascent moral code that Jiang Mei had not anticipated. This means Long Rai is a very good person, she murmurs, more to herself than to them. They agree, adding that their boss has a particularly fierce disdain for those who exploit the weak. Sensing an opening for her own defense against Long Rai's torment, Jiang Mei artfully steers the conversation. Does this mean your boss has no weaknesses? After a shared glance, the friends reveal his great secret fear, water. A triumphant gleam lights Jiang Mei's eyes. This was the precise vulnerability she had been scheming to uncover. The conversation then turns to family. Jiang Mei observes that Long Rai's gentle, elegant mother seems nothing like her temperamental son. Yu Yu reveals the painful truth that reshapes Jiang Mei's understanding. The woman is not his biological mother but his father's second wife. Long Rai's real mother died when he was 6 years old, and since that traumatic loss, Mo Yu and Yu Yu have been his only constant companions. This revelation strikes Jiang Mei deeply, replacing some of her anger with a profound sense of pity for the lonely child buried beneath the layers of arrogance and isolation. This newfound sympathy is quickly complicated by her ongoing connection with Jinshi. She meets him at the school gate, where he presents her with a coveted ticket to a design exhibition she has longed to attend. As they walk and talk, Mo Yu and Yu Yu observe them from a distance and immediately report to Long Rai, using their familiar and presumptuous label, sister-in-law. During their conversation, Jinshi gently inquires about her turbulent dynamic with Long Rai. Jiang Mei dismisses him as selfish and controlling, insisting nothing meaningful exists between them. Jinshi offers a more empathetic perspective, explaining that Long Rai has been profoundly lonely since birth, crushed under the dual burdens of being the sole heir to a vast fortune and a constant subject of public scrutiny, a gilded cage he never chose. Their thoughtful dialogue is violently shattered by Long Rai's dramatic arrival. He is incandescent with rage, accusing Jiang Mei of defying him and confronting Jinshi with the bitter familiarity of an old rivalry. As the two men trade barbs, Jiang Mei interjects, explaining the innocent reason for the ticket. In a fit of blinding jealousy, Long Rai snatches the precious slip of paper, tears it to shreds, and scatters it to the wind, arrogantly claiming he could have procured a dozen such tickets. This act of petty destruction breaks something in Jiang Mei. She yells at him, pouring out her frustration about how she queued for hours fruitlessly and how Jinshi's kindness stands in stark contrast to his cruelty. As she turns to flee, Jinshi delivers a quiet warning to Long Rai. This behavior will only drive her away. Long Rai's response is a defiant, possessive snarl. Jiang Mei is mine and only mine. Heartbroken and adrift, Jiang Mei wanders the city streets until she is drawn to the soulful sound of a violin. A young street musician, completely immersed in his art, plays with a passion that momentarily lifts her spirits. Noticing his empty donation case, she places money inside. When he tries to refuse, she insists, asking instead for another song. The musician, whose name is Long Yi, complies, playing a piece that seems to speak directly to her sadness. This brief, anonymous connection offers a salve for her wounds. This fragile piece is obliterated upon her return to Long Rai's mansion for her enforced tutoring. When she tries to enter his study, he holds the door shut from the inside, a childish power play that causes her to stumble when he finally releases it. He offers no apology, only a cold, convoluted explanation. He cannot bear the sight of her with anyone else. Jiang Mei argues fiercely for her autonomy, stating that her friendships are her own concern. He retorts by reminding her of her designated role, his girlfriend. She rejects this title with vehemence, declaring there is no functional difference between being his girlfriend and his indentured servant. To her fury, Long Rai responds not with anger but with a low, ominous laugh and a cryptic threat. "One day I will definitely eat you up." He then issues a petty command for her to open a soda can. When she turns to leave in disgust, he invokes the threat of their contract. Something in Jiang Mei snaps. She returns, grabs the can, shakes it violently, and sprays the contents directly into his stunned face before fleeing into the night, his furious shouts of "Jiang Mei" echoing behind her. Seeking solace, she encounters Long Yi again on her walk home. He notices her lingering distress and without a word plays another gentle melody on his violin. Moved by what she misinterprets as his impoverished state, Jiang Mei decides to treat him. With self-deprecating humor, she promises alcohol, meat, and a pretty woman. She leads him to a modest hotel room and brings up simple takeaway dishes, laughing at the stark reality versus her grand promise. Long Yi is both startled and deeply amused by her charitable but mistaken assumption about his life. The true nature of their dynamic is upended the very next day at school. The campus buzzes with excitement over a new, breathtakingly handsome music teacher. When Jiang Mei looks up during the assembly, her jaw drops. Standing at the front of the auditorium is Long Yi. They share a moment of wide-eyed mutual recognition, followed by a warm, complicit smile. Jiang Mei is mortified, realizing her charity case is in fact a celebrated musical virtuoso. After his inaugural class, as Long Yi is surrounded by a swarm of adoring students seeking autographs, he spots Jiang Mei and excuses himself. They share an embarrassed laugh over the previous night's misunderstanding, finally exchanging proper introductions. As they shake hands in friendly acknowledgement, a shadow falls over them. Long Rai materializes, his expression thunderous. He physically wrenches their hands apart, staking his claim on Jiang Mei and demanding to know why Long Yi is at his school. A terse, hostile exchange unveils the shocking truth. Long Yi is Long Rai's older half-brother, a son from their father's first marriage. Long Yi's request for Long Rai to come home is met with icy rejection. "I am not that close to you." With that, Long Rai forcibly escorts a confused Jiang Mei away, leaving a poignant family rift exposed. The conflicts converge during a group outing to the beach orchestrated by Long Rai. As Jiang Mei enjoys the scenery, Jinshi makes an unexpected appearance, having tracked her location from a social media post. He shares exhilarating news. He has won a major international design award. Jiang Mei's genuine, unguarded joy for his success is a knife in Long Rai's side. His jealousy manifests as a cold reminder of her subservient role. Just as he moves to reassert control, his phone rings. The caller ID, Yuner, instantly transforms him. His scowl vanishes, replaced by a smile of pure, uncomplicated happiness. He answers with a warmth Jiang Mei has never heard, and without a backward glance he abandons the group. Bewildered, Jiang Mei presses Mo Yu and Yu Yu for answers. They reveal that Yuner is Long Rai's childhood goddess, a girl of peerless grace and beauty whom he has adored since they were children. A cold, unfamiliar knot of jealousy tightens in Jiang Mei's stomach. This feeling crystallizes the next day when Long Rai arrives at school with Yuner on his arm. In a public display, he introduces Jiang Mei as his girlfriend, a claim that now feels like a weapon. The scene grows more convoluted when Long Yi arrives. To Jiang Mei's astonishment, Yuner lights up and runs to embrace him with obvious affection. The tangled web of relationships, Yuner as Long Rai's adored goddess, yet seemingly romantically involved with his estranged brother, leaves Jiang Mei reeling. Long Rai, visibly stung by the sight, drags her away. She accuses him of being jealous over Yuner, but he deflects, bluntly stating he will collect her after class. She protests, declaring she is finished being his tutor. Their argument spirals until he ends it with a final imperial decree. The narrative then builds toward its most dangerous turn. Jiang Mei and Yuner, despite the complex ties to Long Rai, form a genuine connection. In a moment of shared confidence, Jiang Mei confesses her secret dream of becoming a film director, a path divergent from her business studies. Yuner speaks of her own simple dream, to travel specifically to the scenic Langxi mountain. They impulsively plan a weekend trip together. On the morning of the excursion, Jiang Mei's mischievous brother, Jiang, answers her phone when Yuner calls to cancel, having fallen ill. Distracted by a video game, Jiang utterly forgets to relay the message. Unaware of the cancellation, Jiang Mei travels to Langxi Mountain alone. As she waits, the sky darkens ominously and storm warnings begin to flash. Meanwhile, Long Rai visits the ailing Yuner. It is from her that he learns of their original plan, now cancelled. A sudden news bulletin reports a deadly landslide on Langxi Mountain. A bolt of pure terror shoots through Long Rai. Frantic calls to Jiang Mei go unanswered. Abandoning all else, he speeds toward the mountain. He arrives at a scene of chaos, emergency vehicles, police cordons, and reports of a casualty. Desperate, he shoves a photo of Jiang Mei at a reporter and, ignoring shouted warnings and physical barriers, charges into the unstable disaster zone. Convinced she is trapped beneath the mud and debris, the heir who fears nothing but water and his grandfather becomes a creature of pure desperation. He claws at the earth with his bare hands, his expensive clothes ruined, his shouts for her growing increasingly ragged. He unearths a black hair clip identical to one he has seen Jiang Mei wear. The sight unleashes a wave of primal fear, and he renews his search with manic intensity until exhaustion finally claims him. As he slumps in the mud defeated, a voice calls his name. He turns to see Jiang Mei standing there, unharmed, holding an umbrella against the drizzle. The relief is so overwhelming it bypasses all his defenses. He stumbles to his feet, pulls her into a crushing embrace, and kisses her with a raw, unprotected passion that speaks more truth than any of his arrogant proclamations ever could. In the aftermath of this trauma, their relationship enters a fragile new phase, but old threats persist. At school, Jiang Mei, still emotionally raw, hides in the library when she sees Long Rai approaching. Seizing the opportunity, her nemesis Han Jai steals Jiang Mei's unattended phone. Failing to find her, Long Rai leaves. When Jiang Mei returns and discovers her phone missing, she naturally suspects Long Rai. Han Jai, however, is the culprit. Using Jiang Mei's phone, she crafts a message luring Long Rai to a secluded spot by posing as Jiang Mei. That evening, Long Rai arrives, his anticipation turning to disgust when he finds Han Jai waiting. She confesses her long-standing obsession and her desire to replace Jiang Mei. As Long Rai is in the midst of coldly rejecting her, Han Jai spots Jiang Mei approaching in the distance. In a calculated, malicious move, she lunges forward and kisses Long Rai. Jiang Mei witnesses the kiss, misinterprets the entire scene, and delivers a scathing, heartbroken congratulations before walking away. Believing herself finally free of his games, blinded by rage at Han Jai's manipulation and desperate to stop Jiang Mei, Long Rai gives chase and is struck by a passing car. The subsequent hospital scenes masterfully blend high drama with dark comedy. As Long Rai is wheeled toward surgery, a distraught Jiang Mei clutches his hand, weeping and promising to leave him forever if he just wakes up. He regains consciousness, but his gaze is clouded with confusion. He asks where he is, and when Jiang Mei identifies herself, he recognizes the name Jiang Mei as his girlfriend's, but stares at her face without a flicker of recognition. The amnesia extends to his devoted friends Mo Yu and Yu Yu, who are met with blank stares. The doctors suggest temporary memory loss due to trauma. What follows is a bizarre and painful test for Jiang Mei. When their kind-hearted classmate Fan Bing visits, Long Rai's scrambled memory latches onto her. He smiles warmly at Fan Bing, mistakenly identifying her as Jiang Mei, and pulls her close, commenting on how she's gotten a little fat, while completely ignoring the real Jiang Mei. Mo Yu and Yu Yu, seeing a twisted opportunity, encourage Fan Bing to play along, hoping the familiar interaction might trigger his memory. The situation reaches a surreal climax when Long Rai and Fan Bing lean in, seemingly about to kiss. The sight is too much for Jiang Mei to bear. In a moment of pure, unthinking possession, she cries out, "Please let me do it," and pushes past them to kiss Long Rai herself. The room falls into stunned silence. Determined to break through his amnesia, Jiang Mei takes Long Rai and his friends back to the site of their passionate kiss after the landslide. She recreates the moment with painful detail, recounting his desperation, her fear, and their ultimate reunion, culminating in another kiss. His friends are visibly moved by her raw emotion, but Long Rai's expression remains frustratingly vacant. At her wit's end, Jiang Mei calls Jin Shi. He arrives at the hospital and engages Long Rai in deliberately provocative banter, poking at their old rivalries. Long Rai responds with perfect, insulting familiarity, calling Jin Shi disgusting and ugly. When Jin Shi coolly suggests that since Long Rai doesn't remember Jiang Mei, he will simply take her away, Long Rai's carefully constructed facade crumbles. His possessive instincts erupt uncontrollably. "She is my girlfriend," he roars, asserting his claim even as he claims to have no memory. In that instant, Jin Shi pounces. "See," he says, a knowing smile on his lips. "You remember everything. The game is up." Mo Yu and Yu Yu catch on, and Long Rai, caught in his own elaborate, desperate charade, can only shoot a smug, triumphant look at Jin Shi. The amnesia was a final, childish, yet profoundly telling gambit, a last-ditch effort to force Jiang Mei to openly fight for him, to publicly declare her stake, and to vanquish his rival not with threats but by making her choose him, irrevocably and of her own volition. The emotional battlefield is now laid bare, with no more disguises left to hide behind. The narrative continues to explore the complex and evolving dynamic between Jiang Mei, Long Rai, and Jin Shi, against the backdrop of school life, personal conflicts, and hidden truths. Following a period of tension, the group decides to visit an amusement park. Jin Shi, with a specific agenda, explains to a skeptical Long Rai that their destination is meant to revive forgotten memories. as Long Rai had once loved roller coasters in his childhood. Long Rai vehemently denies any such fondness, but Jinshi insists that a single ride might trigger his recollection. Despite his clear aversion and visibly deteriorating condition at the mere thought, Long Rai ultimately agrees to go on the ride, motivated solely by Jiang Mei's presence. He endures the experience with a forced, unconvincing smile plastered on his face. Jinshi offers hollow reassurance, suggesting his memory might return after the ordeal. When they disembark, Jinshi and Jiang Mei are perfectly fine, but Long Rai is in a pitiable state, staggering, disoriented, and requiring physical support from his friends to walk. This pattern repeats as Jinshi and Jiang Mei enthusiastically try various other rides. After each one, Long Rai emerges more wretched and exhausted, a sight that is both comical and slightly concerning. Finally, Jiang Mei guides a pale and unsteady Long Rai to a bench, asking if he is all right. He insists he is fine, but his confusion is evident. When Jiang Mei offers him water, Jinshi intercedes, taking it from her and replacing it with a hot drink, claiming it will soothe her stomach. Long Rai attempts to sip the hot beverage but immediately feels nauseous and vomits. Concerned, Jiang Mei suggests they all go home, but a stubborn Long Rai refuses. His protest is cut short as a stomach cramp seizes him, forcing him to flee to the restroom. Jiang Mei starts to follow, but Jinshi stops her, instructing her to stay put. He then probes her feelings, asking if she is worried about Long Rai. When she admits she is, Jinshi offers vague, unconvincing comfort. In a private moment with his friends, Long Rai voices his suspicion. He believes Jinshi has seen through his deception and knows his memory loss is a sham. Jinshi's aim is to force a confession. This realization leaves Long Rai anxious and uncertain about his next move. Later, Mo Yu and Yu Yu find Jiang Mei and dramatically report that Long Rai is suffering from both a severe stomach ache and a crippling headache. Alarmed, Jiang Mei immediately runs to find him. Jinshi tries to follow, but Long Rai's friends cleverly intercept him, dragging him off to ride the swings under the guise of trying something new, thus isolating Jiang Mei. Jiang Mei finds Long Rai and they begin to talk, but their conversation is soon interrupted by Jinshi's arrival. He reveals he left Mo Yu and Yu Yu stranded on the swings to seek them out. Long Rai greets him with irritation, and Jinshi retorts that he seems unwelcome. As Jiang Mei steps away to fetch drinks, Jinshi confronts Long Rai directly. He proposes a fair game, declaring that he too has feelings for Jiang Mei and that their competition should be honorable. Long Rai angrily reiterates that Jiang Mei is his girlfriend and orders Jinshi to stay away. Jinshi fires back, criticizing Long Rai's treatment of her as deceitful and bullying, and mocks his emotional immaturity, stating that while Long Rai's body is that of a young man, his mind remains childish. Jiang Mei returns and asks Long Rai if he remembered anything from the rides. Long Rai deflects, implying he would only remember something if it were a memory shared with her, casting a meaningful glance at Jiang Mei. The trio's next destination is a cinema, but the film is not a movie at all. It is surveillance footage from the site of Long Rai's supposed accident. The video reveals a shocking truth: the car never actually struck Long Rai. Instead, he is seen deliberately falling to the ground before it reached him and then putting on an act. Confronted with this irrefutable evidence of his elaborate lie, Long Rai is stunned. He tries to get Jiang Mei to leave with him, but she is horrified, demanding if everything between them was just a cruel joke. Jinshi sarcastically suggests Long Rai deserves an award for his performance. A humiliated and furious Long Rai tells Jinshi to be quiet, but the damage is done. Jiang Mei unleashes her anger and disappointment on Long Rai before storming away. That night, as Jiang Mei sits at home, Long Rai appears outside her window, calling her name loudly. She sees him but responds by turning off her lights and closing the window. Undeterred, he enters her house. When she demands to know what he is doing, he asks her to come outside with him. She refuses, and the commotion attracts her parents. Long Rai declares he will keep asking until she agrees. To defuse the tense domestic situation, Jiang Mei reluctantly consents, telling her parents not to worry if she is late. He takes her to a secluded garden. When she asks why they are there, he explains he wants to show her fireworks. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Long Rai opens up about his gilded cage of a life. He confesses that since birth, every detail, his clothing, food, academic subjects, even his friendships, has been meticulously chosen and controlled by his family. Jiang Mei, initially misunderstanding, suggests this privilege spares him the common worries she faces. But Long Rai insists she cannot comprehend the profound loneliness and emotional neglect that comes with such control, contrasting it with the genuine love she receives from her own parents. He shares more of his emotional burdens, culminating in a startling admission. "Since you came into my life, I have changed, and I think I have started to love you." As if on cue, fireworks begin to light up the sky and they watch them together. Jiang Mei is inwardly surprised by this softer side of Long Rai. When he reaches for her hand, she pulls away, stating she only accepted his heartfelt apology, nothing more. As he tries to hug her, she pushes him back. He protests, referencing their past kiss. She dismisses it as an accident and tells him to forget it. Long Rai is hurt, insisting he cannot forget his first kiss and that she is the first girl he has ever confessed to and apologized to. Overwhelmed and irritated by the intensity of his feelings, Jiang Mei runs away. Later, Jiang Mei is having coffee with Jin Shi at a cafe when Long Rai calls her. He asks how her coffee tastes, and as she questions why he would ask, she looks up to see him standing outside watching them. He storms in, angrily confronting Jin Shi once again about staying away from Jiang Mei. The two boys begin to argue, and when Jiang Mei tries to intervene, Long Rai accuses her of always taking Jin Shi's side. Exasperated by their childish behavior, Jiang Mei gets angry and leaves. Meanwhile, Jiang Mei and Fan Bing are organizing auditions for a school play, but no one shows up. They discover Han Jai has intimidated all the potential actresses into staying away. With no lead actress, Fan Bing suggests they at least audition for the male lead. One boy arrives and auditions well but then refuses to rehearse with Fan Bing due to her appearance. Jiang Mei intervenes, offering to rehearse the scene with him herself. The scene culminates in a scripted kiss, but just as the boy leans in, Long Rai arrives, yanking him away from Jiang Mei. When Jiang Mei explains it's just a rehearsal, Long Rai warns the boy to stay meters away from his girlfriend and declares that only he is allowed to touch her. With the male lead now scared off, Jiang Mei bemoans the loss of their actor. Long Rai casually offers a solution: he will be the new male lead. He then sweeps Jiang Mei into his arms to begin rehearsing the scene himself, nearly kissing her before she nervously calls an end to the day's practice. Jiang Mei informs Jin Shi that Long Rai has appointed himself the lead actor. Jin Shi, surprisingly supportive, suggests they simply go along with it as they need an actor. During a theater meeting, Long Rai becomes a disruptive presence. Jiang Mei, trying to manage him, assigns him a task as the director's helper, ordering him to fetch someone. Long Rai immediately delegates the job to his friends, leading to a debate about responsibility. After work, as Jiang Mei and Jin Shi prepare to walk home together, Long Rai pulls Jiang Mei aside, announcing to Jin Shi that he is taking his girlfriend on a date and should not be disturbed. Jin Shi, with a hint of melancholy, tells Jiang Mei to give him this one day, as he implies such opportunities for Long Rai may be fleeting. Home, Jiang Mei's brother lavishes her with praise before revealing his ulterior motive. He has a part-time shift at the amusement park but doesn't want to miss basketball practice. He begs her to cover his shift for a day. After some thought, Jiang Mei agrees, only to remember with horror that she has a date with Long Rai scheduled for the same time. She's panicking about how to explain this to him when the doorbell rings. It is Long Rai. In a desperate improvisation, Jiang Mei pretends to be ill. When a concerned Long Rai offers to get medicine, she claims it's a girl thing. He is utterly confused, and her flustered, nonsensical explanations only deepen his bewilderment. She finally tells him she cannot go out and closes the door on him, leaving him muttering about the strangeness of girls. Long Rai, now free, ends up going to the amusement park with Yun Ai. Ironically, Jiang Mei is also there, working her brother's shift. She spots Long Rai with Yun Ai and feels a pang of disappointment. She approaches Yun Ai, behaving politely but pointedly avoids Long Rai, which puzzles and irritates him. Later, while Jiang Mei is resting, two mischievous children bother her until she firmly disciplines them. Long Rai witnesses this from behind and smiles. The children, seeing him, run to him for protection, calling Jiang Mei a bully. When Jiang Mei turns and sees Long Rai, he teasingly remarks, "Jiang Mei, so it was you." Back at school, news that Long Rai is in the play triggers a flood of girls auditioning for the female lead. The process is chaotic. Some Jiang Mei dislikes, others can't act, and some walk out. Han Jai then arrives, performs a dance, and through sheer persistence and lack of alternatives, Jiang Mei is forced to cast her as the lead actress. During a script reading, a distracted Han Jai only asks when Long Rai will arrive. He appears late, and when Jiang Mei questions him, he claims he is on time. Jiang Mei introduces him to his co-star, Han Jai. To everyone's shock, Long Rai flatly states, "I don't want her," and proceeds to make Han Jai flee in tears. With both leads gone, Jiang Mei is furious, but Long Rai proposes a solution. Jin Shi will play the male lead. Jin Shi agrees but counters that Jiang Mei is the most suitable choice for the female lead. As Jin Shi begins to hint at a shared childhood secret, Long Rai clamps a hand over his mouth and declares that Jin Shi will play the female role instead. This leads to a physical scuffle between them. A worried Jiang Mei retreats to the restroom, where Fan Bing consoles her, reminding her that as the director, her word is final. Jiang Mei returns and makes a bold announcement. Jin Shi will be the male lead and Long Rai will play the female lead. Long Rai is horrified and starts to leave, but Jiang Mei stops him. She then produces the incriminating childhood photo as blackmail. Cornered, Long Rai agrees to play the actress on the condition that no one else ever sees the photo, threatening her if they do. Rehearsals are a disaster. Long Rai forgets all his lines. His friends try to help by feeding him lines through an earpiece, a plan that fails when Jiang Mei catches them. Humiliated and angry, Long Rai quits. That night, Jiang Mei messages him an apology and a promise to fix things. True to her word, she personally tutors him, helping him memorize his lines. The next rehearsal with Jin she goes surprisingly well, and Jiang Mei praises Long Rai, who secretly practices acting like a girl at home, much to the bewilderment of Uncle Lee. Finally, the day of the performance arrives. Jin Shi looks dashing and Jiang Mei compliments him. When Long Rai appears in a dress, there is a silent, charged moment of mutual starring and a shared smile, though Jiang Mei withholds direct praise. The play is a sensation. The audience is shocked by Long Rai's convincing and striking appearance. The applause is thunderous. However, the triumph is shattered when the childhood photo of Jin Shi and Long Rai, the one Jiang Mei had used for blackmail, is suddenly projected on the screen for all to see. Jiang Mei is as shocked as anyone. A mortified Long Rai runs to the restroom with Jiang Mei following. She swears she doesn't know how it got there, but an enraged Long Rai accuses her as she was the only one who had it. Their argument about trust is interrupted by Long Yi, who tries to downplay the photo's significance. Furious, Long Rai storms off. The next day at school, Long Rai pointedly ignores Jiang Mei. She later goes to return his coat, but he rejects it. He then produces the master and servant contract, stating this is what she always wanted to be rid of, and dramatically tears it up, declaring her free. The finality of the act leaves Jiang Mei heartbroken. Determined to clear her name, she reviews security footage with Long Yi's help and discovers Han Jai was the culprit who leaked the photo. Han Jai's friend sees Jiang Mei copying the evidence. Later, Han Jai and her gang ambush Jiang Mei, demanding the flash drive. A fight ensues and Han Jai's bodyguards eventually seize it from her. The next day at school, Jiang Mei is met with strange looks. She checks her phone to find Han Jai has uploaded the fight video, making it go viral. Furious, Jiang Mei confronts Han Jai and Long Rai arrives as she is showing him the video. When he coldly asks Jiang Mei if she has anything to say, she walks away defeated. Later, Jiang Mei confronts Han Jai alone, asking why she hates her so much. Han Jai admits it is pure jealousy over Long Rai's affection for Jiang Mei. She reveals she stole the photo when Jiang Mei was blackmailing Long Rai and used her friends in the control room to project it. She smugly points out Jiang Mei has no proof. Unbeknownst to Han Jai, Jiang Mei had recorded their entire conversation. Jiang Mei takes the recording to Long Rai. He dismisses her coldly, telling her she can go. She leaves the recording with him, walking away with the painful realization that even with the truth, their connection seems irrevocably broken. Long Rai initially ignores the recording, but his friends force him to listen. Upon hearing Han Jai's confession, he is flooded with remorse. Meanwhile, Fan Bing takes a distraught Jiang Mei to church, encouraging her to speak her heart. Behind a curtain, Jiang Mei pours out her conflicted feelings. How Long Rai turned her life upside down, how he is childish, funny, and infuriating, and how she has no logical reason to like him. But she also confesses the deep pain she felt when he said he would never speak to her again. As she finishes and lifts the curtain, she finds Long Rai standing before her. He has heard everything. He seizes on her words, interpreting her complaints as the kind of things a girlfriend would say. When she tries to deflect, he turns her own logic against her, listing all the boyfriend-like things he has done. He declares she has finally accepted him, then kisses her. In the ensuing stumble, Jiang Mei sprains her ankle. The next day, Long Rai arrives at school with a wheelchair and insists on pushing Jiang Mei everywhere, despite her protests that she can walk. At his home, as he brings her tea, she notices his clothes are wet and tells him to change to avoid catching a cold. He starts to undress right in front of her, leading to a flustered exchange. When he goes to change, the power goes out. He returns wearing only a towel, but as he descends the stairs, the power returns and his towel slips off, revealing him to his shocked family members, including his father and grandfather, in a moment of supreme embarrassment. Later, Long Rai abruptly takes Jiang Mei to his garage and hugs her tightly. When she asks if something is wrong, he reveals he is leaving for Paris. This news softens her and she tells him to hug her properly. His friends Mo Yu and Yu Yu walk in on the scene and comically pretend to see nothing. Long Rai entrusts Jiang Mei to their care while he is away. During his time in Paris, Long Rai video calls Jiang Mei, complaining she hasn't called him and asking if she missed him. She gives a coy, indirect answer that delights him. Back at school, Han Jai manipulates the teacher into forcing Jiang Mei to participate in a grueling mountain race. Despite warnings from Long Rai's friends about the difficulty, Jiang Mei, who has trained hard, refuses to back down. On race day, Han Jai sabotages Jiang Mei by changing the directional signs, leading her deep into an isolated part of the jungle. Realizing she is lost with no other competitors in sight, Jiang Mei tries to call Long Rai, but there is no signal. Meanwhile, Long Rai is returning to the country. When all other racers return except Jiang Mei, Long Yi and Long Rai's friends grow worried. Long Yi goes to search for her and finds her injured. As he carries her back, Long Rai arrives, seething with jealousy, and orders Long Yi away from his Jiang Mei. Jiang Mei, angry at Long Rai's possessiveness, refuses to go to him unless he apologizes to Long Yi. Long Rai ignores this, picks her up, and takes her home, where they argue bitterly about Long Yi. The school's annual trip to a tropical island finds Jiang Mei and Long Rai avoiding each other. At a beach party, the host asks Long Yi to dance. He initially refuses, but then dances with Jiang Mei. Long Rai arrives, separates them, and publicly asserts his claim as her boyfriend. A confrontation is brewing when Han Jai intervenes with a vicious lie, claiming Jiang Mei had spent a night with Long Yi before getting with Long Rai. Long Rai, instead of defending her, coldly asks Jiang Mei to tell him the truth herself, revealing his lack of trust. Heartbroken that he believes Han Jai over her, Jiang Mei runs out toward the river. Long Rai follows. As a storm warning is issued, Long Yi also goes after them to help. By the river, Jiang Mei confronts Long Rai about his distrust and refuses to leave with him. At that moment, the storm hits with full force, sweeping both Jiang Mei and Long Rai into the raging water. Long Yi arrives, pulls Jiang Mei to safety, and then goes back for Long Rai. He saves Long Rai but is pulled under by the current and drowns. In the devastating aftermath, everyone is at the hospital. Long Rai's grandfather blames Jiang Mei for the tragedy. Long Rai remains in a coma. Consumed by grief and guilt, Jiang Mei visits the place where Long Yi used to play the violin. Jinshi finds her there, but she pushes him away, believing she brings harm to everyone. She makes the drastic decision to leave the city and withdraw from school. Even a now remorseful Han Jai cannot stop her. Before leaving, she meets Long Rai's friends to ask about his condition. They tell her he is out of physical danger but still unconscious. They allow her to see him from a distance one last time. The sight of him lying helpless breaks her completely, and she leaves in tears. The story concludes with Jiang Mei saying goodbye to her parents and departing the city, carrying the weight of unresolved love, profound loss, and shattered dreams.